Hello, my dear ones. Always great to sit down and go over cases with you and talk about health and stuff. I've never lost my excitement for health or consciousness or any of that. How can you? It's where you feel good. It's empowerment. It's awareness. It's all those things together. So man's so used to being so down on this planet. It's sad to see that we accept down as good. And we can't do that. We got to wake up to that and start having some fun on the rock and learning how to be conscious and controlling ourselves and not creating so much of this negative karma stuff. Yeah, someone sent this to me. Basically it says cannabis oil has 34 treatments for cancer and is not FDA approved. Chemotherapy was discovered by poisoning people with mustard gas and is FDA approved. Let that sink in. You know, the thing is, that's how complacent people are. And for a government to think that they can outlaw an herb, I mean, that's where our governments are. And I was kind of tying that over to Italy here. We were talking about Italy. And, you know, here's just some of the problems. And this lady, I don't know who she is. She's up there in the government somewhere. Their whole thing is protein, of course. They said this vegetarian and vegan diet's suitable for children or not. It said, according to the American Dietetics Association, a well-planned vegetarian and vegan diet can be healthy. Who the hell is the American Dietetics Association anyway? Those guys don't know the first thing about health one way or another. Thank you for saying that it's good for you, because how could you not, since the American Cancer Society came out with an all raw foods chart back in 1986. If I can find that thing from the last class. But you know, so the whole concept that a raw food diet would be less nutritious than the counterpart cooked is like insane. And then to think that grains or dried beans or dead animal meat have some health benefits for people is delusional. And even the health people in their hearts know better. Come on. And in July, now get to this, and I want to go over this for a reason here. In July, a little boy raised on a strict vegan diet was removed from the custody of his parents after doctors, medical, I'm sure, concluded that the 1-year-old had the body weight of a 3-month-old baby. Right? According to the Independent, must be a newspaper or something, the boy showed severe calcium deficiencies and needed emergency surgery because of a heart condition. All right? Now, although the vegan diet did not cause the heart disease, thank you, doctors believe it made things worse. This is the extreme ignorance that we put our children into. And it's scary. Had they been watching this little baby, which I'm sure they had been, they would have known that it isn't diet related, it's genetically related. I mean, this is that they have to relate to the diet. They can't think on their own like you guys can. And so they have to put up with this crap like this. These kids have so many genetic weaknesses. When you start to see your little baby not developing, that's when you start looking at Watt's system. The endocrine glands, the glandular system, the pituitary, all these things. And you know these babies are coming in with weaknesses. You can't blame their diets. You got to, at these young ages, you got to look at their genetics. Oh, yeah. And that's the extreme stupidity of the medical community worldwide, is they don't understand genetics. They don't understand health. They don't understand anything. And those are the people run to first. Something wrong with this picture? So, you guys get this. He's underdeveloped. I mean, just from this one paragraph, I'm going to guess he's got a pituitary slamming down on the parathyroid. He's not utilizing calcium. He probably has a mitral valve prolapse or a tricuspid valve down. That's the surgery he probably had to have, was a valve replacement or something. Yes, pretty close. So this is the thing is, you've got to take a look at these things. That raw food diet didn't make a mitral valve prolapse, and that's where all the calciums are, is in the raw foods. Matter of fact, is this thing for protein, what's interesting to me is they got this thing about protein which actually robs the body of calcium. robs the body of calcium, doesn't give you calcium. High phosphorus foods are antagonistic to calcium. Phosphorus is the acidic counterpart to bone matrix and the like, right? To the trio. And too much of the little brother pushes out the sisters, calcium and magnesium. So you lose your bone matrix and everything else. So they don't understand any of this. And these are the people, let's just ask the American Dietetics Association. They will know. They'll know what? They guys don't know nothing. In 2015, a divorced Italian mother of a 12-year-old lost her guardianship after the father filed a complaint that the boy's diet was stunning his growth and harming his health. Evil way to get back at the mother, don't you think? It's sad, sad, sad. And don't your mom sit and take this. If you're a divorced mom and you got a husband that's being a butt like this, you stand tall. You got us behind you and Artie and a whole bunch of people worldwide behind you on this. There's a raw food pediatrician in Miami. There's probably a lot of raw food pediatricians in the world today. But for any thought of this, these people should have brought in chemists or anybody with a brain as a chemist and talked about what happens when you cook your foods as opposed to the counterpart raw. I mean, you've got to be pretty head up the butt to think that cooking your food makes it better than the same food raw. Now, maybe 50 years ago, we all had our heads up there, but not today. So to have a government down on this, and it's just the stupidity, and the AMA is twerking this on their side always, and it's the side of Hellville. And it's just sad that these little kids have to be put up with this sort of thing. In the light of these events, two events that have nothing to do with raw food eating, right? And who knows what the father was probably just gigging on the mom. So in the light of these events, two events which had nothing to do with the raw foods, this lady, Savino, is now pushing hard to penalize reckless and dangerous eating behavior imposed by parents to the detriment of minors, according to the BBC. But you can't afford to have ignorant people in government that chomp down on us and force us to get our kids unhealthy. See, in other words, they're going to force parents in the long run, because once you allow a little thing like this, it gets worse and worse. It's like America. They take more and take more. Look at the Obama's regulations. They've snuck regulations so slick and tight everywhere. It's disgusting. Everybody's getting mad here because everything's so regulated, and it's like, so real bad stuff out there. When you're regulating people like this, that's the negative side of creation coming in, not the positive. You don't need to regulate humans. We need to spiritualize humans, develop their awareness, not penalize them and block your freedoms and stuff. And that's a sign the negative forces is winning here. And these governments are being channels for this. And they don't realize it's the individual people in them. So when you elect our government officials, let's elect spiritually thinking people that are much more awake than those that have their heads driven, because that's what's happening. These people that have their heads where the sun doesn't shine are passing bills that suppress other people's rights, and they're getting away with that. Well, it's creating a field of bad karma for them, and then everybody is stressed and everything else like that. All right. The news of the day. I didn't watch much news last night to see if there's anything on that's... The Zika virus is growing and growing and growing. And again, the same type of thing, putting fears in the populace, and a lack of understanding of the lymph system and how you deal with virals. It's a great opportunity to teach people how you deal with virals, how you learn about detoxification, how you have a cleaner inner environment where virals are moved in, moves out, no big deal. Didn't someone send in something from Brazil saying that it wasn't until they vaccinated for a Zika virus that you saw the head problems? It wasn't the viruses. They said the virus has been down there for 50 years or more. It is the vaccinations that started the head mutations. And it's like, I don't know which to believe, but I will say this. It is easy for me to believe a pharmaceutical could do that. There's plenty of virals in this world, and we get virals in and out. They're just proteins. But a protein could cause damage to the DNA, but that would have to be intracellular. And very, very rare you're going to have an intracellular issue with viruses. I mean, you're going to start, when you start to see that level, that means your lymph system's extremely stagnant, and now you're getting acidic bite back on the cell, not the viral back, and that's a protein. But to get a viral intracellular and then to damage chromosomes or the DNA to create mutation like that is a little strange, where pharmaceutical companies would definitely do that. So, I don't know. You got to think about that a little bit. When you start to see mutations, you have to understand it has to be an intracellular issue. How do you get intracellular? Plenty of protection around a cell, immune-wise. So how would you get a protein in a cell? Because if you look at a cancer cell, they're all globbed on the outside of the cell. It's only the cellular waste that can't get out of the cell that blows back on the cell itself, not the external. So, you have to think about how the body's designed and all that to buy their chew, or to chew on their offerings. But that's unconsciousness, and that's driven by the negative forces. And you just have to be aware of that. I am joy. That's a nice name. I am third stage breast cancer. I'm going to back that up, and I'm going to say you're not third stage breast cancer. You're a beautiful, powerful soul. Your physical body might have a third stage acidosis problem, lymphatic stagnation problem in it that they call breast cancer, but you are not. Remember, you lovely one, you are a gigantic, beautiful soul using bodies. So don't take that on as if you're taking it. You don't have the problem, your body does. You were not taught how to take care of your bodies properly. Nobody was. I mean, that's the gig down here, unconsciousness. I am great fasting for 40 days. Love it, love it, love it. That's just what it takes. Just what it takes. You should be very successful with this then. Depends how hard and all that it is. Would vitamin C injections help heal me, or do even no? No, no, no. Remember, vitamin C is ascorbic acid. I don't care what beautiful name you put on the front. Vitamin C, so good for you. Linus Pauling, who killed a couple of their kids, right? Whatever that story is. But it's ascorbic acid any way you look at it. It's an acid, an intravenous feeding of an acid, and we're seeing this. Remember, I've addressed this on many videos. So the hardening of the arteries are now being witnessed through intravenous vitamin C. What are you going to do with vitamin C anyway? It's an acidic. It's a small part of the flavonoid chain, or the bioflavonoids, which those are what you want. The rutins and all that all together. When you start looking at the cycles and stuff that these go through metabolically, and you're grabbing these metabolitic byproducts off of there, claiming there's some kind of wonder thing, it's that whole medical concept of treatment with things nothing else works treatment-wise, we'll try to find something else. And that's because treatment never cures. Never. Because you're focusing on the effect, not the cause of the problem. Simple, easy to understand. But man is so trapped in unconsciousness that he gets caught up in that and he can't think, or he thinks and can't be awake. Maybe is the more appropriate way to say that. I am also starting the 14-week. You want to do the herbs with this. Any of you guys with the diagnosis of cancer, you want to get on the herbal protocols, because you just want to hit this and get your kidneys filtering and your lymph moving and hydrated, and you're good. Now, you remember, we always got these things to think about. Hardening of the lymph nodes, atrophy of the lymph nodes, things that we can't see, even sometimes in the eye, and they have to go through this. So, everybody does the best they can to help others, and you just have to do the best you can to help yourself, understanding what's up. The most important thing that any of you guys can understand is what's up. How life works a little bit here, both in consciousness and states of consciousness, or energy and the frequencies of energy, and how that manifests into chemistry. That's easy. All right, you don't have to get in depth with anything like that, because you're not going to use it anywhere. Who's even cares? If you can surface understand things, at least a little bit into that's all you need. You don't need to have these lifetimes and journals of understanding, because it doesn't get anybody anyway, and after a certain point it becomes worlds of theories. Theory this, theory that. I guess this, maybe this. Well, somebody with third or fourth stage anything doesn't want maybes in their world. So, yeah, you want to get on that 14-week program, hit it hard, but you want to augment that, and you want to add some lymphatic 5, lymph node 5 in there at times. You know, you probably want to have somebody write you up one or something, honey, because you really want to get focused on that. And do it right. Goes after those kidneys, you know, all that sort of thing. Because you get yourself lined up right, it works good. Now, there's always the tough cases out there, guys, and you're getting a lot of them, and there's just nothing you can do. I wanted to show you this one case that Marcy's working on, that I'm telling you, it's incredible. This lady is doing so, I'm so proud of this lady. I mean, major, I mean, her eye was almost gone, I guess, and just tumor, just major here, just, I can't remember if she'd used black salve on it or something, but it was just majorly bad. And I just saw the picture of this lady just now, Marcy showed me, and oh my God, she's going to make it. This thing is all healing, most of it's gone and healing. Oh, I'm so proud of that lady. Because that's a good win for her and for us, because that was bad. That was real bad, real bad. It looked a lot like this, but on the eye. I mean, real bad. So, yeah, that's what this is about. That is what this is about. Pulling these poor people that have just got the mutations from the acid so bad and pulling them back out of it. I love that. Love that. That's what this is about, guys. I'll get Marcy in here and show you the pictures. She's in with someone, but sometime I'll get the pictures. I'll have her run them off and I'll show you the pictures if this lady doesn't mind, because you can see who it is. Because it's just right in her eye here, real bad. I mean, just the whole side of the face. So much bad. I can't believe it. I had my doubts even, you know. We try to stay positive, but, you know, there's some cases that are pretty gruesome. And you just go, oh. But the power of the raw, the power of the herbs, and, you know, the power of doing things right, understanding causative problems. It's how simple this all is, and yet it's become fields of complication and schooling of complication and stuff that no one even gets. Doesn't help anybody. Hi, Robert. Unwordable gratitude. Well, that's pretty neat. Unwordable gratitude. Love you, man. Thanks for that one. I love that one. For everything you do and your outpouring of love and assistance. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Love you, too. I'm in need of some guidance. Absolutely. Oh, I'm a 31-year-old male. Oh, little man. I have been on raw foods, mostly fruits, for the past part of 9 years. Holy moly. You got me beat, man. In terms of fruit, if you've been on fruit that long. I want to get healthy. I can't imagine you not being extremely healthy. You know, after all that raw and all that, I want to get healthy so I can help others to my fullest potential and express myself to my fullest potential. Well, I'm behind you, man. Oh, who is this? Nico? Nico? Yeah, I'm with you. You're at a good age to do this. You got the maturity to yourself. You've been on raw all these years. You're a perfect person for this, I would think, Robert. Or Nico? I don't know. I hate to pronounce your names wrong. I apologize immensely for that. I grew up on a very Western American influenced diet. As a teenager, my main food choices was based on fast foods and refined processed foods. And, you know, I forget that sometimes that. Of course, I grew up, we had farms and everything, and so we had the grocery store, Chef Boyardee and Italian spaghetti and American spaghetti, isn't it called, or something, and we had all that. But we also had fresh farm foods, got a lot of meat because we processed our foods, you know, that way, slaughterhouse stuff. And my granny and my mom liked to bake. So my granny made the best applesauce cake with raisins in it. Applesauce cake full of raisins. And just as moist and full of raisins with a burnt sugar topping or something. It's like, you know how you grow up with that kind of stuff? It's like, Also, congesting dairy foods. I hate those things. Holy crap! It's what I was taught, and I knew. Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too, man. I remember having chest infections as a child and being prescribed antibiotics. And that sad. It makes me want to cough just thinking about it. Oh yeah. I used to get, I hate that whole scenario you're talking about. I used to get sick very often, and when I was consuming alcohol as a teenager and living a very acid lifestyle, my immune function was really compromised. At 18 years, I worked in an aviation engineering environment where I was exposed to many chemicals. That's what I was going to say. Many chemicals there. Fumes, absolutely. I can't do that. Now, I can't work around that. That's just why I can't even go to a racetrack. I don't go to racetracks. I don't go to any place like that. Are you kidding? Been there, done it. It's like, Matter of fact, there was a time I decided I was going to walk everywhere. Forget cars. I was going to walk everywhere. Right? Ha! I was only about 22 years old, and because I was a walker. And I love to go deep into the woods and get lost, and I was a walker. Yeah, walked into town just one time, learned, nope, that's not going to work. I need a gas mask. It's horrible walking alongside the road with the pollution. You need a gas mask. Yeah. So I had to go buy me a van and buy something to get out of that. I know what you're talking about. And sanding residue from aircraft repainting. Oh yeah. Oh no, I get that. Oh no. Oh. And stripping, your acetates and acetones and all these things. Absolutely. I was somewhat aware and wore masks. Oh, that's good. See, now, I've never wore masks and stuff. That's my problem. Often, but sometimes I just and another thing that I've used a lot of is PVC glue. That scares the holy heck out of me. I'll be down in a hole, putting in water lines and stuff, and that glue just blowing back in my breathing. It's just, scary. Scary. I was sick often through this time and got major headaches and extremely fatigued. At 17, my mother... Oh, man. At 17, his mother died of cancer, bowel then lung. 17 years old to lose your mom. They said from asbestos exposure. My father committed suicide the same year. Oh, holy shit. Wow. Wow. He was diagnosed bipolar, manic depressive years. All these people can be fixed up. Remember, it's just an experience of a soul coming down here, taking on bodies, experiencing creation, which is dualistic, and it's birth, life, and death here. This is a birth, life, and death. Creation is birth, life, and death. Some life lasts for lots and lots of years, though. When you get up into the middle worlds, you can be in those worlds for thousands and thousands of what you would think of as Earth years. Here on the earth plane, it doesn't happen that long. You see the swing too quick, the movement of duality. So birth, life, and death. But with that said, you can see that if there's a 256-year-old Chinese man, there should be plenty of, 200 and 300 and 400-year-old humans. Why not? I am sure I carry some weak genes from both. Yeah. No, you know what you're appropriately thinking here. Thinking about your dad, that's where you want to go. Your mom had kidneys and adrenals, and you do too. I mean, you're just, without even thinking, because look at what you've been fighting with your immune system or your lymphatic system all these years with all the congestion and all the, whenever you're talking about antibiotics, you're talking about the lymph system. So, but manic depressive and everything, you're going to look at you want to look at your pituitary gland and your parathyroid. Real important, because you don't want to move yourself into where your dad was, because it's hard for people to get out of those things. Sometimes they don't know how to get out of them. So I submit to you to look at your pituitary, adrenals, parathyroid. I went through major depressive episodes and delusional episodes, but my innate nature called me to health. Good man. Oh, you've come into the body here as a spiritual one. So all you're doing is awakening and helping the rock. At your age right now and all that, and the negative. If you look at that, guys, most of you guys that are coming to us, you're the awakened ones, and listen to what I'm talking about, the mind and how you stop thinking, and you do that, and you're awakened, and then you'll see why you're here. You young guys and gals, you are the ones here. really. And so look at these depressive things and these anxiety things. You remember the glands, the glands, the glands, the glands, the glands, the glands. Mm-hmm. And that parathyroid, depression. But remember, pituitary is the head honcho, oversees everybody. And when it's down, the other people go down. So that's the only little quirk you got to think about is that pituitary in there. The only little quirk, connective link. Sometimes I'm going to give you some connective links. And you just remember that connective link and learn how to look at the eyes and stuff. And you guys will have it down more than any other practitioner on the planet, baby. Yeah. Fast forward to now, I overhauled my whole life. Good man. I went to Raw at about 22. That's about how old I was. 21, 20. So, good man. And congestion, maybe it shows you spiritual. It shows you right here, my friend. You're an awakened one. And in other words, you're here to either help or to finish up, awaken, boom, you're done. And congestion and mucus disappeared after a while on raw foods because they're not mucus-forming foods. You know, and it's funny, it's all about, Arnold Ehret sure nailed it right on, didn't he? We're talking about the mucus and all that. That just woke me right up because I'm a milk drinker from, the farmers, and I had mucus everywhere, and it was like, oh my God. Oh, look, I got my sinus cleaned. Oh, I can smell again. Oh, I can taste again. All that just for mucus, just for eating foods that the body doesn't want. I mean, it's proof positive that the mucosa in the body is saying no, no, no. You don't produce mucus with the foods that the body wants, and if you produce mucus with the acid-forming foods the body doesn't want. Look at the mucus that you get produced from these foods. The least of that would be cooked vegetables. That's why we say if you're going to cheat on cooked vegetables because it doesn't produce the mucus. Just about everything else does, though. I got out of acid lifestyle and moved to the tropics. Oh, smart man. Oh, in Australia. The fruits are incredible. Oh, might have to take me a little Aussie trip. I gotta check out this. Fruits are incredible. I noticed many health benefits to my health, but also much degradation in many areas. Well, that's when you get into the herbs, man. If you've been on raw this long and you haven't seen the body regenerate itself, I'm amazed, first of all. Because I've always believed that the raw should be enough to do it. Don't you? Let your food be your medicine be your food, Hippocratean thinking. Because I didn't have herbs and my body totally was rebuilding. But if I'd have had the herbs, that's what I say. The only thing that I see is just the depth of the problems, and I don't know. I just think the herbs are the cat's meow when it comes to finalizing your rebuilding and really getting in more of an aggressive stance. The botanicals have it. Teeth have been a big issue. Okay. Teeth have been a big issue, but what are we talking about? Depression, calcium, teeth. Okay, see how that works? So now, bones. All right, so we also know that what accelerates, see, you can be born with a parathyroid weakness, just skate along here a little bit, down on that borderline, but then kick up the acid diet, and that's probably been your benefit. Had you not been on the raw foods, you probably would have been where Dad was. Be honest with you. In just what you're saying here. Another thing is, you've got to remember the lymph system in the mouth because that also leaches. So you got a couple of things. You got the leaching effect of acids, right, of acidosis, and then you've got the inability to rectify that with a weakened parathyroid gland. So then you move yourself into depression, your teeth break down, your connective tissue start getting weak, and your skeletal system, osteopenia, But, turn this baby around, head up. I don't know about your pituitary. You have to kind of look at your height a little bit, and as a male, you don't have monthly cycles, so you kind of have to look at maybe growth factors. But, I have it. The eyes will have it and show you. And that is proof positive right there, and it's easy to do. You get a camera, you get an eye pick, oh, there it is, pituitary, or not. But that then brings you into bowel problems, and you're about to mention that right here. Let's see, teeth have been an issue. I've lost 2 good teeth already with 16 fillings. Yep, way too acidic. You're losing, and your sewer system's backed up, so you got your microbes hungry. hungry, hungry, hungry. Not after your teeth. They're after your lymph, your acids. Of course, your acids are after your teeth because you need that calcium to stop them. So it's just, that's the problem everywhere, though. This is just right in your face, literally, but everything else is out there too. You know, saggy breasts, prolapsing bladders and uteruses, you know, all those things. Undersized everything, oversized everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to turn this around. That's why I'm saying the fruits nowadays, you've been on raw so long, to me this should have turned you around. And just in my face how important the herbs are, and focusing in on tissues like the parathyroid. And even though we're using glandulars, it does bring up the importance of using them, because it's the only thing I know we can use for the parathyroid. And when you see so many people in trouble, and you've got people that are still eating meat, well, we can take advantage of that. We can take advantage of that. Nobody gets hurt anyway. Nobody dies in creation. That's an illusion, remember? I began having digestive complaints, though, and no medical doctors could really help. That's the eyes have it. They just said IBS. I have weak parathyroid. Yep, I knew that. I have weak parathyroid calcium utilization. I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah, you're right on. See, this is what's good about you guys. You're learning how to identify your weaknesses with body parts, and that's important, because then you're not just like everyone else picking things out of the sky like autoimmune. You guys are right on point, and that's the people that get the benefit and the win the game. The other people, they're not winning the game, as you see. You're right on with that. Right on with that. Yeah, you're right on with that, and just look at that pituitary there. In the latest 2 years, I have strange numb sensations in my calves predominantly, and have been noticing varicosing of veins in the legs. Now, you're right on here, and you want to address this pretty like now. You're getting 31 years old, you want to get this done and deal with this. Now, if you were a female and you were having babies, the story even gets worse. Story gets worse. You poor ladies, you get postpartum depression, you give up your calcium to your babies, and you don't have that much to give up. I mean, because they're parathyroid, the chances of the baby having a parathyroid could be there. So then the baby can't utilize the calcium it's stealing from the mother. So then you see where it can get radical? Yeah, real radical. And then mutation of the baby is assured in all types of places, from structure to nerve to all kinds of things. Yeah, oh yeah. And we're into that gig right now. We're heavy into this. That's why I think it's time for these videos to work. It's time for us to be here on the planet. So everything is timely, as it would be with God. Also, sore, aching joints. Yeah, but you're acidic, you know. And at 31, you're going to have kidney and adrenals. Let's face it. So you've got to make sure you're filtering. Nico, or I don't know how to pronounce your name, but no, I love you, man. So just, you got it. You want to take a look at this and go after this. You got to get and I don't know how you can have achy joints on raw foods. You know, but anyway, it just shows you were born probably with kidneys and adrenals. You're not filtering, and so you can be and this is the only way you can be on raw foods and have these symptoms if you're not filtering. Because it doesn't matter what the chemistry is coming in, it's what's not coming out. See? So it doesn't matter the goodies that's going in there. It's just, what aren't you eliminating? And that's the gig. So that's why you can be on raw foods and still get a kickback from this. And it goes right to your kidneys and adrenal glands. But at 31, I'm going to be bold and say 99% of the people on this planet have kidney and adrenals at 30 years old. Just how bad do you have them? Also have long-standing parasitic issues. Bastositis, strong lodoids or something. I don't know. Detox them out, man. Which makes my bowels often loose. I don't know about that. You know, a good parasitic cleanse, that's handled. But you could still have loose stools from all the acidosis, because you can go either way. You can go to loose stools or constipation. You can flip back and forth between the two. Oh, he has persistent hive-like rash on the buttocks. Yeah, your lymph systems. Yeah, kidney and adrenals, bro. your kidneys, adrenals. Of course, there's part of your bipolar, and then of course you got your parathyroid, maybe a little thyroid too if you're feeling cold. And baby, look at that pituitary. And if you're insomnic on the side where you don't rest well, you know it's transverse bowel, pituitary, pineal. And a lot of that, you just have to get up in there and get that. And look for those radius solaris, upper circumbraining nerve when you have those. Be thinking about your body. You guys are 30s and 20s and even younger. You guys got to do some rebuilding. And we got some good herbs to rebuild, baby. And just think about that. And go after your body. You're learning here how to correlate the weaknesses and the body parts. And you guys are doing a mighty fine job at correlating that. You picking this up really good. And you guys will be the ones with the answers on this planet of all that by turning looking, because you will have the answers, and everybody else suffering because everybody's got their heads in dark places. Immediately I am concerned about these issues at such a young age. I would be too, because what's the next thing? This is the lymph system, lymphomas. It's a lymph system, tumors, things like this, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And you're going to lose your friggin' teeth and maybe get all bald. That's not health. So we got to get you back healthy. My health seems to be degrading even on a fruit-based diet. And the only reason, bro, is going to be your kidneys and adrenals. That's the only reason. Because no matter what the fuel source, no matter how good, if you can't eliminate the byproducts, you're done. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're in trouble. So you got to fix this. And again, just pee in a jar and look at your urine. That's all you got to do, man. Just look at your urine. I just can't imagine you not filtering after all these years on fruit. That would freak me out, to be honest with you. Shows you how powerful where people are in the level of decay and the level of weaknesses, genetically speaking, and the need to have the herbs that are specific for these tissues. And looking at the fruits and stuff, as good as they all are, I'm sure most of them are hybrided down to some extent. And so, we got to go to the original botanicals. So you're mixing botanicals with fruits, it's a win-win-win-win-win all the way around. Good fruits of all kinds, and berries of all kinds, and melons, and your herbs, those are your vegetables. So you don't have to bitch about vegetables, you have to get them through the herbs. Win-win, win-win, win-win-win. Because outside of that, you're in trouble and there's nothing you can do, as far as I know. Because where's your tools? We know poisons aren't tools. Pharmaceuticals are not tools. They maybe once in a while you might have one that supports and helps someone live for a little while, only to then die. Once in a while there's a need for some pharmaceuticals, but not at the level we're at, and not at the type of pharmaceuticals we're at. I'm ready to embrace this fully and acknowledge the herbs for detoxifying my body. It's like we're all thinking on the same wavelength now. I love that. Shows how in tune we are. We're in tune with God. We're in tune with nature. That's cool. That's fun. Then you can have fun playing and doing whatever you want, but doing it at a more aware pace, and your body's healthy too. That's what it's about. Because remember, your experience is the experience of God. That's why you're here. You are the individualization of the one. Same with the plants and everything else. Without that, there's no experience. So your experience is blowing right back to the all. Just remember that. Can I get some? And we all go through it. That's why we can go, oh yeah, we know what you're going to go through. Can I get some guidance for specific formulas for my conditions? Go to the protocol section. Because you want to start out with the first kit. You're going to get dewormed. You're going to get into the kidneys. You're going to get into the adrenals. Start out with the first kit. And I would just keep on going down that line, bro, if you can afford it. If not, then augment that. Focus on, the first focus is always on the sewer system. Always. You don't get that opened. Here's a good example right here. For me, that if you don't get your kidneys and adrenals and you don't get that system hydrated and flowing, no matter how much raw you're on, this is what you're stagnant in that. Because your nutrition is proper, but your elimination is stagnant. And that's going to get you every time. So that's why the herbs are so important to help that, working on the elimination. It's funny, we have to go back to that side of it. Oh, here we go. I know to start with kidneys and adrenals, with stomach and bowels. Also do this. If you have a pituitary weakness, About a month into this, give yourself a pituitary herbal formula for a month. With that, hitchhike the parathyroid 50 milligrams. You can even start that now, but hitchhike that with the pituitary formula. Then hitchhike that with a bones or superfood blend, high calcium, and run that for a month. You could repeat that scenario another couple of months down the way. With that, you always want to be on the endocrine gland because that's going to support the glands too. And then see how you do with this. But you have to remove the acidosis to get the regeneration at the level you want. But you can start that process now, but get that lymph moving. You only get marginal success right off because of that, because the acids are still there. So by continuing to remove the acids and at the same time getting these glands up to snuff, everybody's going to start working for you. Then the calcium, you're going to start utilizing the calcium and everything is working. Hydrating and filtering and moving. You're rebuilding at the same time to the degree that it can. And as you continue to hydrate these areas, the rebuilding process will get deeper and more on point. And that's what you see. Would you recommend a parathyroid for some period along with the bones? You guys are smart. You see, this is what a practitioner does right here, and you guys are learning to be practitioners on yourself. What you can do on yourself, you can do on anybody. This is your education. You are your own education. You don't have to go in debt and spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a practitioner of what? Pharmaceuticals and things like that? Even osteopathy is like, yeah, used to be the good guys. I don't know. And I say that in respect of everybody because everybody needs to change the way they're thinking, and get on board with causative thinking and dispel this. We got to put a lid on this treatment-based thinking. Only in stat emergencies do you do that. And when it's understandable, you do that in a stat. But then you address the cause also during a stat need. If you want to back down the symptoms faster. Good job, man. Smart man. Keep on the fruit, though. Hello, doctor. Hello. I am Manoj from India. I should know how to pronounce that. Manoj? I don't know, but thank you so much. Oh, I love India. You know that. My wife was detected with breast cancer last month. She has tumor of 2 centimeters. Okay, well that's okay. I mean, at least they're 2 centimeters right now. She got surgery to remove tumor. Okay. The tumor is diagnosed with HER2. Yeah. Creates cancer cells 4 times. You can't live in that way of thinking. If you live with this way of thinking, my dear one, they will capture you and get lost. Don't even think of that. Forget the HER2 and all that crap. Don't even go there. Nope. This is a lymphatic problem your wife had. These tumors were small enough. Now you have to go after her kidneys and adrenal glands. And she has to stay off the Indian food for a little while. Send it over to me. And she has to be on some good Indian fruit. You guys got some good mangoes. I don't know what your seasons are now. We are against chemotherapy. I would be against anything that kills me too. But every doctor has suggested chemo. Wrong doctors. Wrong doctors, my friend. They've extracted or done a lumpectomy on her, probably. Now get on the raw, and she'll be just fine. Get the kidneys filtering, get her lymph system moving, and you'll have a wife, and always a wife. If you listen to their bull crap about all these positive this and positive that, you'll have them messing with her on the bad side for a long time. Don't buy into that crap. It don't matter about HER2 and H and NEU. They don't even know. Ugh. Yeah, typical chemo. Boy, I tell you what. We started chemo last week with first mild dose. What? After 3 chemo, they will start Heparsin or Hepatin treatment for 3 months. You crazy, Bo. Crazy. Crazy. After watching your video on cancer on YouTube, I'm thinking we are making her body more acidic. Are you thinking? More acidic? Chemo is the acid of the world. That is not Jesus juice. This acid will chew you up. Have you ever seen pictures of chemo spilled on the skin? You ever see pictures of that? I got everything in the disarray, but Google chemotherapy burns and see what chemotherapy looks like when it's spilled on the skin, okay? I want you all to do that. See what chemotherapy, I've showed you the pictures before, see what it looks like on the skin. Of course, when I took IV therapy, they told me don't spill any chemotherapy on the skin, so I'm saying, okay, I told you guys about that, and I'm asking the nurse practitioner who's teaching the course on IV therapy, I'm saying, why not? So they show you the pictures, and of course we have the pictures. It's not real pretty. It just burns your skin right off, of course, as battery acid would. So I asked the nurse practitioner, I said, what's your skin made of, my dear one? And she said, cells, of course. And I said, but you want us to inject it into the vascular system, and what's your vascular walls made up of? Cells. So what you don't see on the inside is what you see on the outside. Burns you right up on the inside, same way. Oh yeah, it's still just cells in there. What are these people thinking? It's better just to let people live. This has already been proved. If you've been to live and do nothing, you live 12 times longer. It'd be better you just live life and forget about it. Maybe along the way, pick up raw foods or something like that. But, man, you don't want to do this to your wife, man. You don't want to listen to those Indian docs. They don't have their heads screwed on right. They have turban with concrete. No, you can't do that. You know, and you've got a wife here and you don't want to do that. You're talking about acidifying her more? This is the acid of the generations. You might as well give her battery acid. I mean, this is serious stuff, bro. And you do not want to lose your wife because these guys are unconscious and they think they should give her a little chemo. You got a wife, this is all she had, you've saved her now, you've got the lump out now, fix the problem and you're done. But this is any way to make HER2 to negative by using natural ways. You don't have to worry about that at all. Your body runs right through that, changes all these stats and makes it perfect. You don't even have to worry about it. You don't even have to think about it. Don't get lost in intellectualism, or what you had one day as a beautiful wife is no more, for no reason but their stupidity and their intellectualism driving them to kill people. They just can't stop that. It's that old syndrome of Americans who chased the Native Americans into Canada and still killed them up there. Old famous chief said, you know, they even followed us into Canada and killed us there. Ugh, what a planet. I can see why the Federation doesn't want to stop. Hello, I was wondering if it's okay to take your GI broom 2 times a day, and sorry if this sounds silly, but does that help with the kidneys and adrenals? Because I haven't been able to get a hold of those 2 yet. You know what? You have a good question here. Absolutely it does. You know, this is a pretty good question. There's no name or anything on it. Well, you can use the GI broom 2 or 3 times a day if you want. I only recommend it once a day, but twice a day is even better. But you don't have to overdo it. But what does a GI broom have in it that's so strong on the kidneys and makes this GI broom different than any other formula on the market? Your astringent herbs, white oak bark. Remember white oak bark, white pond lily? I think white pond lily was over. I know it was hard to get for a while. But your white pond lily, your white oak barks, these are strong astringent herbs. And I've got others in there that are astringent, and that was the whole idea, to draw, to pull, to astringe the mucosa, to hopefully pull some of this heavy plaque off the wall, to get the sulfur out of the wall, and maybe have some drawing effect interstitially in the wall. That would be the cat's meow. Because if you could open up that interstitial spaces with astringing the mucosa in the canal, you could open up malabsorption much faster and therefore fix people even faster. So, you know, I'm always looking for that sort of thing, because if we can make your experience faster and better, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? So, yeah. And it's the astringent factors that's going to help on the kidneys. Absolutely. Astringe. And then with your hydrating with the high electrolyte foods, you win the game. Hello, Dr. Morse. My armpits have very bad and acidic smell for years. Is this the one I just read? I can't, no, this isn't the one I just read. I can't keep the same clothes 2 consecutive days. When I take a shower with soap, it's very hard to get rid of the smell. Some of my clothes during the laundry, well, you're going to have to use like Dawn, gets rid of oils and stuff too. You have to use dish water or dish soap in your laundry since they took all the phosphates, which is understandable, but still, notice without the acid phosphates in your laundry detergent, clothes just don't come clean. Funny how the chemistry is, isn't it? Acids do have some benefit. Essential for creation, of course. And the smell is even worse when I'm stressed or anxious, and I'm often anxious. So my questions are, what is it? Bacteria? String acidosis in the armpit? Oh no, these are proteins. Your proteins. Your body's saturated with acids, proteins, and that's what you're smelling. And you had to be a meat eater sometime in your life, or dairy, because those are the foods that really make you stink. Dairy, anything animal, really makes you stink. Yeah, fruits and berries and melons and things like that, they just don't make you stink. But animal products do, and real bad. And I don't know, I guess you could get some bacteria. It's not the bacteria that stink, this is chemistry. But anything that stinks is putrefactive. Fermentation, you get some stink. True. So, but this is putrefaction. What can I do? Only move the lymph. That's it. That's not a blood problem. All your blood can get real stinky, but no. These are proteins. You ever smell blood, stagnant blood? Mm-hmm. Proteins, guys, and they stink, putrefactive, and you don't want that, because that's your sign that you're in trouble. And you might have some stagnation in your lymph nodes under your arm. That would even be even more of a problem. Stagnation of that lymph node, you could even get an atrophy of the lymph node under the arm, smelling that, and that would be not a good thing at all, because then the breast or the chest area would pop up, the arm might have some lymphedema. So you want to detox your sewer system. Here we go, the lymph. I know it sounds like a broken record. What other system makes you stink? Cells? They're just cells hanging. Blood? Well, yeah, it can stink, but you move that around pretty good. You don't want to have putrefaction in the blood, but we do eat protein. We do eat animal products, people do, and it does putrefy in the bowels. Remember, we have real short bowels for meat eating. Real long bowels for meat eating. Ours is not short enough, like the carnivores. So we putrefy, and of course that putrefaction absorbed, and you could have some impactions in the bowel walls, in pockets, and you're constantly absorbing putrefaction and constantly sinking there. So that's why you want to clean the GI tract out, impactions and everything else. You got to get your lymph nodes cleaned out and stay off the dead animal stuff. Get yourself smelling sweet as a berry. I want to point out that I am very tired. Well, right there's your answer. There's your adrenals, and what they sit on? Your kidneys, and what do they control? The lymphatic system, and what is that? The sewer system. So, sewer systems stink, don't they? Well, not when you have the right foods. Go to a zoo. Just when the next time you're in a zoo, take note of the different smells depending upon the type of animals you're visiting, and you tell me which poo-poo smells the worst. Vegetarians or the meat eaters? I am very tired. That's your adrenals. So put yourself on an adrenal 400 3 times a day. Go after your kidneys. Guys, I really recommend, if you can afford the first kit, then you get a good idea what you should be taking, and you're deworming yourself, and you're opening up some doors, and that's the best do I can tell you. Get that first kit and rock, baby. You'll get a good sense. You'll get your worms coming out of you and all this stuff, and it'll give you a good sense of what you need to follow and focus on. All right, so she has hay fever, so that's the lymph system again, going back to the lymph. I mean, body's only so much of the body. If it sounds redundant, good, because that means you're getting it. And once you get it, you got it. That's it. Okay? But your mind is going to go, but isn't there more? But the mind, remember Mr. Mind coming in? Oh yeah. It can't, simplicity isn't for the mind. Remember that. So the next time you get confused when we're talking simplistically, remember that's just your mind. Quit thinking. Just hang and listen. Just let your consciousness, because this is truth. It's part of consciousness. And then put that mind to the side. I am losing hair, and she's only, or he, oh, this is Lewis. He's only 26 years old. Not good, Lewis. It shows acidosis in the scalp. And, check your vertebrae and everything. Line yourself up. Clean yourself out. All these things are important for Wellville. And it's worth every penny, every ounce of time you put in on it. It's worth it because it's your experience, your body, your car, your vehicle. You want to bump along with one that's, going down, or do you want in a nice, shiny, clean car with a nice new motor? Maybe all these symptoms are linked. Do you think? Definitely. Definitely. Thanks, Lewis. Absolutely. They're all linked. And that is what Lewis and all of you guys got to realize is that, oh yeah, they're all linked. The body is divided up into systems, and each system depends on the other systems to run. You can't take the alternator out of a car and think it's going to start. You have to have all these different systems. You have the electrical system in a car. You've got the fuel system in a car, right? You've got the tires, the legs. I mean, you've got the vehicle. And keep your vehicles nice. You don't want bird crap to stay on the paint, right? Why? Breaks up the paint, right? Now, what side of chemistry is bird poop on? Thank you. Acids. Of course. All things break down into acids. Oh, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Healing after radioactive iodine treatment for Graves. God. Oh, my God. Oh, honey. At 17 years old, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease and suffered for 2 years with the symptoms. At 19, the specialist determined that the only way to get me healthy was to radiate my thyroid. I did the radiation after pressure from my family. Family. Thank you, family. And now at 26 years old, I feel the worst I've ever felt. Thank you, medical profession. Thank you for helping me, Mr. Specialist. Thinks you all seem to know what's up, and I trusted you, and you killed my thyroid because you didn't know how that because it was overactive, all I had to do was detox. That's all I had to do was detox. That's all I had to do, and I could have pulled that overactivity out of there. That's all I had to do. Sad. Sad. So, please tell me there's hope to what I have done and go on to lead a healthy life. I'm taking Synthroid currently, and am hypothyroid. Oh yeah. What do you expect them to do? They pretty much are after it. All right, sweetheart. Here's the thing. I wouldn't go to the 400. Well, you might. You try 150s first. Try the 150 milligram thyroid, raw thyroid, desiccated thyroid tissue. Get the New Zealand's, the really good kind. And I would do one 3 times a day or one twice a day. You shouldn't get any blowback from that. And to see if we can't spawn and turn that thyroid on again. Detox, detox, detox. Get this radioactive isotopes out of you. Get all this radioactivity out of you. Detox, 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 and we'll turn it on. At the same time, you got to think about why was your thyroid hyperactive? All right? So we're either looking at the pituitary gland, all right? So he didn't even think to look there. That thyroid could have been perfect. Well, of course, no matter how hyper the pituitary is, that thyroid's, he tried to kill it. So, of course, no matter how hyper the pituitary is, it can't make a dying thyroid hyper anymore. So you got to get up in the head irregardless. You got to get up in here anyway. Detox the sinuses. Get yourself detoxed. We got to go after the kidneys, the adrenals. And we've been talking on all these videos. I've got your protocol video up on what to take. And you go after yourself. Because you don't want to sit here and take this anymore. You trusted someone that did you wrong. And you now want to learn about this, rebuild this, get this taken care of. You can rebuild this. Had they removed it, you would have been in a much worse position. But here's the other problem. What did it do to your parathyroid glands? I'm dead serious. This is your bones, your happiness. This is your nerve responses. This is everything. So you might want to do a little stunt with thyroid and parathyroid. Piggyback those two. 150 milligram thyroid, 50 milligram parathyroids, 1-3 times a day. Upper circulation and lower circulation. I want to shove blood in tissues. So I want upper circulation and lower circulation. Brain and nerve, 2. Run with that for a while. At the same time, you're working on your GI tract. You're going back and fixing what you should have fixed in the beginning. What this a specialist who knows what they're doing, who just made your life a living hell, you got to go back and fix yourself. You got to go back and detoxify yourself. And get that cleaned up. Get your sinuses cleaned up, honey, and get your thyroid turned back on. And if you need help, hook with Marcy or one of the practitioners here will help you. But you should be able to do this yourself. But if not, have one of the practitioners help you do that. But you're going to have to get into the glandulars to turn on those cells that was radiated to death. Or radioactive iodine. I spent years in nuclear medicine and never needed anything like this till then. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Hello, Dr. Morse. Thank you for all your vids. They are such a blessing. Thank you. I appreciate that. You got to understand, after 40-some years of doing this and seeing what we've seen, and just having the compassion in the hearts we have, it can take a toll on you. You're seeing all this, and after a while, sometimes when people keep doing stupid things to young people and hurting them like this, it gets under my grits, man. It just gets under my whatever, and I just, enough's enough. How much can this planet take? About to annihilate the humans off of it. Is that good enough for them? That's just what they want, though. Remember that. All right. I have a query about scar tissue. I have seen 2 videos which touched on the subject a little bit, but I just wanted to ask something more specific. Okay. You mentioned that when we scar, especially easily, it is due to acidosis. Oh, big time. Surely that means, and with that comes the weakened tissue, the weakened cells. Believe it or not, even though they're simple words of weak and strong, and also how we donate cells. Cells can be weak or strong depending on their genetic stance. And as we weaken the vitality and the morphology of a cell, then of course this is what we're seeing, the underactivity of tissues and stuff like that. Surely that means that if we alkalize the system, the body could restore the skin once more. Well, yeah. I mean, you can literally burn your skin. I had this was John Keim. For you Amish guys, probably not too many Amish people listening to us videos, but I've worked with the Amish community for most of my life since I'm up near the Amish communities. But John Keim is a good old friend of mine, old Amish healer, and he had 2 children playing with gasoline. One was an Amish child, about, don't quote me, I'm thinking they were 8 or 9 or 10, and one was a non-Amish boy, white boy. And they were playing with gasoline and exploded all on them. Well, they rushed the Amish boy to John, and they rushed the other boy to the hospital. And I was over, this was when he was in Ohio, and I was over in Ohio giving a lecture at his barn. And he had the two boys there to show me. And he was telling me that the Amish boy, his skin just fell down over his hand here. He just cut it off and just fell down. It just burned all up and just fell off. So even though, John, you didn't use burdock leaves in there, he's a fan of burdock leaves, and he wrapped it with burdock leaves. And other things, and worked with this boy. And the Amish boy had no scarring. You couldn't even tell he was burned. Normal arm. The boy that went to the hospital, mutated bad, real bad burns. You could tell where they had done the grafting and everything. It was a nightmare. And I've always said this, the medical profession is the worst with burns. They have no idea how to regenerate tissue from the first place. And then to do to people that are burnt, what they do to people, having you scrape the skin is beyond even understanding. The sad things that some of these level 3 burns go through, I'm telling you, it's the pain and everything. And just dump them in an aloe bath. All you got to do is dump them in an aloe bath. Pull that pain right out of there. And watch that tissue regrow. So you betcha, honey, I'm into regeneration of tissue in every way there is. But you got to realize, Elizabeth, that we have extreme genetics, and that includes skin. Skin is cells, and there's a lot of weak skins. Look at the eyes and that dark skin ring around the eye. That's weakness of the skin tissues. You know? So you can restore your skin beautifully, can restore your skin from no skin. How about that one? I know you do say to go after your health as opposed to counting the days, etc. But if one were to cleanse the system, are we taking years to restore such a condition? Absolutely not. And that's the beauty of it. The beauty is you can take years to rip up the body apart and only take a year to rebuild it. You know, you can start rebuilding the body within months. This is all relative, and you can understand this common sense relative to, one, the level of genetic weaknesses related to kidneys, adrenals, and the other glands, obviously, in the gut, and the level of stagnation. Are you in the chronic levels? Are you in the subacute levels? Are you in simply the acute levels? You know, what level you're in. If you have a lot of chronic lymph problems and chronic lacunas, these are weaknesses within the cells, you're not going to expect in a few months to rebuild yourself. But if you're one of those compact and strong genes and you got lymph, then you can fix a few months and you're good. So relativity to this, guys, remember that, and it's common sense, and anybody can understand that. To not would be confusing to me. A few years ago, I started a water fast, and the tissue of my breast dramatically shrunk. Of course, this is the problems, with the weight, that the breasts get big, and then when you go to lose the weight, down comes the breast, and then they can get real saggy and everything. This, if you don't have a real need to go fast, go slower. Use some green drinks and address the parathyroid so you can tone while you're detoxing. Because the saggier you get, it does show us that you really didn't have good muscle tone underneath at all. And weak connective tissue. What looks good sometimes might not be so good after all. Even when you lose weight, you want to maintain firmness if you can. Now, if you're really obese, that's probably impossible. But it's not impossible to get a surgeon and work with that and then work with the parathyroids and get yourself straightened up. But the skin stayed as before. Oh no, I know exactly what you're going through, sweetheart. I know what you're going through. And again, you got to tone and tone and tone to stay on the raw foods and let the body tone and tighten. Go after the glands, parathyroid in particular. You want to tone. But you'll tone after a while. It's the only thing I can tell you. But sometimes if you want to lose this, you go slower if you can. Now, another problem is malabsorption. Sometimes people look good, but they're really malabsorbed. And once they start, that's it. The body starts going down. So work your body back to a state of wellness. You know, if you detox and it gets down flabby, then tone it up. You've got tonics out there in the herbs. You can tone yourself up, get your malabsorption fixed, and now your body's going to make itself healthy, tone and tighten. So you have the phases to go through, just like working on a car or anything else. You have your phases. You got to clean, rebuild. These are different phases. The neat thing is the body does rebuild while you're cleaning a lot of times, so that's pretty cool. She's a relatively young woman, and there's no reason why aesthetically they should look that way. Well, this is part of the unhealthiness of your body, my dear one. Can I reestablish breast tissue again? Absolutely. And if so, what would be the best thing for me to do? Again, as we're talking about, going after health is going after toning and tightening and everything else. Health is health. Health is a firm, strong, muscular body, not one that you have to overly work out to get them. You should have natural muscles naturally, strong muscles naturally. Primates have strong muscles naturally. Of course, they do a lot of work and exercise, but we should too. You know, it's man's diet that's making him weak and sick. And turn it around and look at all the people getting strong. I mean, we got a lot of strong people here. My good buddy. We're all getting strong. And some of you guys that are real weak and mushy, remember I talked about that, real mushy. You don't want to be mushy. Your butts will be flabby and mushy, the breasts flabby and mushy. You don't want to be flabby and mushy. So you got to get into the sewer system, clean that up, get everything filtering and absorbed, get it on the raw and all that flabby, and start working your muscles a little bit once you get filtering. And start developing your body into a strong body, not a mushy body. I can just tell you, when you get older, mushy does not look good. I take quite a lot of calcium-rich green juices and dry brushing once a day. Well, get into the fruits too. You know, start detoxing with the fruits. They're high in calciums too, enough calcium. But get into, you got to detox as well. A while ago, you looked at my eyes on YouTube and said that I had a serious, okay. I have a serious weakness in the breast area. Yeah, well then you want to go after your lymph system. Oh yeah, because if you have a breast that's going down, not looking good, that's decay inside. You don't want to go there, guys. I mean, because you'll lose the breast. You lose the whole breast and it looks like something like that. No. You know, you cannot go wrong ever moving your lymphatic system. Yeah, could have that been the scar tissue or the deeper tissue probably. Deeper tissue probably, honey. Which is what I assumed when I first heard from you. Yep. Thank you, sweetie. Love you too, honey. Excuse me. Keep working. I keep pulling the crap out of me. We all keep working on ourselves. We all just keep working on ourselves. And when are those navel oranges going to come in that's good? Not till November. I hope I can get a hold of them. Good, sweet. I got some, I ran out of them, South African navel oranges. And then I've got some ocean spray, supposed to be sweet, right. Hello, and we love you all for all the work you do. Thank you so much. Thank you. This. Marilyn, thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, sweetheart. We appreciate that. These guys are in there. We got some good people in there. They are, most of them are good, hard people. And they really are, trying to help people. Our question is this watermelon and lemons are considered alkaline? Our question, is this watermelon and lemons considered alkaline? They do in the end. They are in the end result, absolutely, particularly watermelon. But lemons, they have an acid hit, but they have a base effect, full of electrolytes and things like that. But they have their acids. acetic acid and everything else, but it makes that astringent. So sometimes you get confused between astringent and acidic, but they can be acidic, especially fruit unripe can definitely be on that side. But most of them are dominant in the electrolytes, and their ashes and stuff are base dominant. But when burned for fuel, the ash is the deciding factor of what truly makes us acid or alkaline, basically. If this is true, then could this be the reason so many can't get the adrenals functioning, and the real reason for many not able to get the kidneys filtering is because of what? I'm not sure I get that question, sweetheart, of what you're trying to relate here about burning watermelon and lemon fuel, why that doesn't affect the real reason. No, that's not the real reason. The real reasons are proteins. The real reason is eating the acid side of chemistry, the real acid side of chemistry, and that breaking down the kidneys and scarring the bowels like crazy. The bowels are a mess from proteins. And this isn't from me, this is from, we've known this naturopathy for 200 years, guys, and the World Health Organization has been putting out studies. There's been studies. You can't deny these studies. There's too many of them. If you don't look at the studies, then you really don't know. But the real reason is the diets. And look at the grains and the mucus-forming foods and the dairies and stuff. No. It has nothing to do with the fruit burning. It's because of acidosis, though. That's the real reason is acids. Acids damage. And proteins, when you do high acid forming diets, where's your electrolytes? You're creating a cationic environment. Add the acid ingestion of foods to the acid elimination of metabolitic waste, and you've got acid on acid. That's chemotherapy. So you're seeing that everybody is living in the acid fields, the acid zones, and their body's becoming wholly acidic. And that's why we're where we are. And that's, add the pharmaceuticals and add the chemicals, add the vaccines, add the pollution in the airs, add all that, and that's where we are. Man would rather you think in terms of diseases so you don't look at the real problems we have and the real ignorance that exists. Diseases is just a word for smoking screen. It's just a smoking screen for, I don't know. Well, we know, and we proved it. That's the problem. We've proved it. This isn't just verbalage coming out of someone that doesn't have any experience. We are most interested in what Dr. Morse has to say on this. We all love him. Oh, thank you. SnyderHealth.com is an acid ash site. Wow. Link would not load. We tried to load it up, and they're saying the link wouldn't load. SnyderHealth.com is an acid ash site. Wow. We'll check that out. I'm real curious. But you also have dominance of electrolytes and stuff like that too. You have your ionization and all that going on. But you noticed that with lemons, if you got too much acid in your mouth, it can affect your teeth and gums, absolutely. You can get too acidic on fruits. That's the thing about pineapple. I don't do pineapple unless it's ripe off the plant or it's fermented down to nothing because it's acidic. And this is part of the problems. Be careful with the acidic fruits and everything. What in the world is this? Stacy? Let me look at this one. Let's see. Dear Dr. Morse, it is wonderful to see so many people that love and have a great regard for you. Oh, thanks. Well, that's because I have a love and a great regard for all of you guys too. And we all wiggle this stuff out of here and get this stuff out of here and learn how this stuff is. And, we keep putting it together. You guys have helped to put more together to this and stuff. And I've said, this is about helping the world and helping people. This isn't, there's no agenda except that. The agenda is the reverse of the World Bank. That ought to get me killed. All right. There has been a tumor in my breast for 7 years. You've had a tumor in your breast for 7 years? Well, the fact that you've had it there for 7 years, let me see. I refused a mastectomy. I have lots of energy and have been living a normal life. In the last year, there have been an eruption on the outside of the tumor. Well, you know, eventually this thing's going to want to just pop open. Eventually, it's just going to want to work itself to the surface of your skin and pop open. Just like a boil or a pimple does. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Your body doesn't want stuff in it. It starts to push it out. Remember I told you I fell off the telephone pole and had all those creosote splinters all in my hand here? And they started working themselves through my fingernails and out. That was a way out. Just beautiful how the body is designed and works. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous design, my friend. Get a lumpectomy. Or have you hit the raw to get it out the right way? How about black salve to pull it out? You know, the problem is right now, there's not a lot of good salves on the market. I tried the Amazon salve and I'm not happy with that at all. I'm used to using a high quality black salve, and the guy I get it from has ruined it now. But he used to pull them right out beautifully, healed right behind it. The good black salve. That reminds me, where's my black salve and where's my my infant formula? Yeah. Yeah, because that's what it's going to want to do. If it's starting to erupt, you could just put some potato on there and try to pull it out. It's very unfeminine, and there is an odor. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. What you guys don't realize is when you get tumors that look this bad, I've just got a whole bunch here. You don't want to see any of these, I don't think. They're pretty gnarly. There's one on a guy's neck. But, you know, this stuff's just got to come out. And it's sewage, it's acidic, it stinks, it's putrefactive. I mean, you guys have been to school, seen the one I pulled. It was this big. John Hopkins finally had to cut it off. Great big thing. I felt sorry for her. That thing, I mean, it's putrefactive. There's nothing worse than smelling putrefactive tissue. Yeah, nasty. So I know where you're coming from, honey. And just after 2 of your talks, I believe that your help and products can help. Oh, you want to get on this and get this out of there ASAP. You really want to get linked to us and get one, Marcy or one of us to help you. Now, I'm generally, on a case like yours, I'm generally the first man that talks to you. And so we get you pictures. We want everything here, or you can come in and see us. But we get you going on this. My goal is to avoid an operation and losing my breast. I get that, but you've had it in there long enough. Out, out, out. It must come. So either we pull it out or we get it out the way that it came, that you formed it. That's the way I prefer, because then you're done. You won't form anymore, and you're fixed. You got to fix it anyway, or you'll form another one. That's the other problem with that. You can't ignore fixing it, but pulling it. But sometimes it's so much easier just to pull it out with black salve and you're done. Fixing the problem too, because another one will grow if you don't. My question is, do you think that these products are able to dissolve, expel the tumor? Not dissolve. Nothing will dissolve the tumor. Well, there is. Radiation or battery acid fries it like a piece of chicken. Of course, then you damage all the other tissue, and now you get another tumor, but even bigger from it. But as soon as your website accepts my joining, I will order the products. I thank God that you love people. Oh, thanks, Ann. You betcha, Ann. But listen, honey, you get focused and get done. I would just like this other lady. I put myself on a 40-day grape fast. What do you got to lose? I put a lot of people on 40-day grapes. It goes faster than you think. You're just eating grapes all day long, every day. That's your food. You're not hungry. You don't have to go hungry. Although I would undereat just a little bit to stay a little bit hungry. That puts you in a semi-fasting state. Works out better. If you always eat till you're full, detox isn't always so good. But if you just go a little hungry, just a little bit, then it really will help you a lot more. But and get this out, get that done, get your life done, then you're done, right? You didn't give me a size factor on the tumor or anything like that, so I don't know what to tell you. Now, let me see. This is kind of designed and real small for me to read. I can hardly see this. This is from Stacy, and this is April 1st. Wow. Wow. Wow, is this how back I am? Oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm so far behind here, guys. Oh my God, I don't know where these came into play. I'll read this since I started this, but this is a long time ago, guys. I don't have any. Oh, this is July. This is closer. The 19th. I'd like begin by thanking you for all you do for him. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. Before I begin with my issues, I know a man born with a micro penis. Can that be fixed? Wow. So he was starting to, I wonder what chromosomes got turned up on him. He's starting to probably really go and become more of a woman or something. You know, you get those. You know, I don't know. I've never had a case like that. I would work on the pituitary. I'd take a real good look at the pituitary gland and the adrenal glands. I really would, and I'd be working on that, working on those two tissues and developing that, because it is possible. You can on herbs. I've on our female reproductive formula, we got women's breasts to grow and firm. I've never tried a male, but they have been selling herbal male products to make the penis grow. I don't know. If they're anything would, the male reproductive formulas, mine is not as hot as it used to be because I'm just too scared of someone taking it with prostatitis and getting prostate cancer from it. Too hot. But it's certainly anything's possible. We've seen older women's breasts firm and actually enlarge. So, I don't know. Date. Here's 2 years old, area affected hair, started growing underarm hair, and I'm presently a dry and hairy person. Alright, so it sounded like you had too much testosterone. Alright, so that could be your pituitary or your adrenals. 8 years old, hives. Lymphatic, kidney, and adrenals. 13 years old, hives. Lymphatic, kidney, and adrenals. And she breaks out whenever she gets nervous. 26 years, MS. Diagnosed MRI, found lesions on both sides of my brain and spine. 27 years, lupus. Well, you know, lupus, Lyme's, all of that stuff's all the same, guys. And you would be. To be done with the MS, you're going to be systemically down lymphatically too. So you might as well throw fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme's in there. Let them throw all that stuff in there. You're going to get rid of it just the same anyway. Let them throw whatever they want in there. But that's just your lymph system backed up. It's got to be anyway to have MS. So it depends where your blowback is on the lymph system, and you can see where you are here. 27 years, let's see, lupus, a few weeks, okay. A few weeks of taking a drug for MS. Oh, get this one. This is good. A few weeks of taking a drug for MS, I started experiencing rashes on my back, which neurologists claim had nothing to do with the medication. Blah, 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 blah. Now she's diagnosed with lupus. 29 years old, paleo diet. You know what, paleo people. For this point forward, I've decided to my health into my own hands. Thank you. Thank you. Stacy, smart woman, honey. I practiced on myself rather than seeing a medical doctor. Good woman. Sorry, needed to. This is way out of their league. She's 30 years now, I think. She's vegan. The owner of a green wave. Oh, hi, green wave. Yep. Well, tell him hi for me, would you, and his daughter. Raul's a good friend of mine. I love the guy. But his daughter will put you on fruits, and that's where you need to be. Fruits, berries, and melons only, sweetheart. Mention the benefits of going raw and your herbs. That was Raul. And that's because he's seen what... first time I met Raul, he was an educator at Hippocrates. He brought in a young man over here. He'd heard about me and had this big tumor on the side of his neck. And he had already been... The young man had been to Hippocrates for about 3 or 4 months. And with basically unchanged. And I told Raul, I said it's because he's on the wrong diet. And the herbs, of course, address the systems down and that sort of thing. So I think we had it mostly gone in 3 months or less. Yep. But I've loved that guy ever since. He's seen a lot of things. And 30 years old, fruitarian, started watching your YouTube. Yeah! Now you're going to be successful, dear one. Now you're going to throw that neurological thing out the door. And you're going to get all the body cleaned up. And now you're in good shape. You probably go through some ups and downs with the lymph system like this. But now you're on the right spot, sweetheart. Respect you immensely. Now, you've got the right door open. Due to the MS, my biggest concern is with my walking and balance. Absolutely, don't worry about that. You've got to get up in here. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve. You might want to have one of us write your protocol for you. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve. And kidneys and adrenals. I'd go the 400 milligram granular for about 2 months, and then I'd go to an adrenal herb hitchhike licorice root. Right? Now, after those bowels, you want to drain the head area. Get these lesions, upper circuit, brain, and nerve, upper circuit, brain, and nerve. Lymphatics, bowels, kidneys, adrenals, and you might want to make sure that parathyroid is good because nerve transmission needs calcium. Now, the adrenals are a major player in MS, so where are we going? Adrenals. How low is your blood pressure? Heat makes me worse. But of course, why? Heat is acidic. Cold is base or alkaline. So, what does that tell you right there? That when you're highly acidic and then you get in heat, it takes more nerve energy out of you. Worst thing you could do is heat. That's why we never recommend cold sheet treatments for anybody with neurological weaknesses. Put yourself down. You got to be careful with the heat because in hospitals we turn the room down, and this is also true in COPD. Breathing problems. Ask someone with a lung problems, COPD or whatever, whether it's easier to breathe when it's the wintertime or in the middle of the hot summer. Same thing with MS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's. I lose feelings in my limbs and have tremors and spasms. Well, we put you on antispasmodics. We put you on the brain and nerves, of course. But I also highly recommend you visit a chiropractor to help us and have him make sure the axis and everything is straight because we want to move lymph up out of this head area. We want to make sure your spinal column is straight. Okay? Remember that, everyone. Work on the neurolymphatic points down your spine. Have someone work that on you and, go after this. You'll be successful. We have very few people that are not, and very few people that actually do this level that are not. I only know one, and there's some other reason he's dealing with. But everyone else is, I'm not doing the program. And that's those two in a wheelchair, that's man and wife. You know who I'm talking about. All right. For that reason, I don't hold babies. I probably wouldn't. But we put you on an antispasmodic. And at the same time, we're rebuilding the nervous system. At the same time, we're promoting neurotransmitters and enhancing steroids for the acidosis and for the myelin sheaths. You see where we're working? We're getting up in here with the brain lesions, meaning your acids are frying your brain. We're pulling the acids out and repairing the lesions. For that reason, my greatest fear in life is not being able to hold my own baby. Oh, don't make me cry. I don't have any children, but would like to when my body is normal again and timing is right. Besides, Mr. Right hasn't found me yet. You get yourself fixed up, and Mr. Right will be right there, sweetheart. And then you can bring in a higher soul to this planet, and you'll be totally prepared for that higher soul because you'll know exactly how to take care of the body so they can get the job done here. So, yeah, right on, honey. I'm a 2,000% behind you, Stacy. You need help, you call. All right? So you get this done, dear. All right, my focus is obtaining my God's given right to life and life abundantly, and that's for each and every one of you. You are a part of God. You have the right to come down here. We just have to blow this old consciousness out of here, replace it with truth and love and humility, and win the day. And then you got a lovely vacation spot. Yeah, come to planet Earth and let's stay for about 200 years. With that stay, we will put you on an island with fruits and... Well, I think, therefore I am. I would be wrong, right? Because it's I am, therefore I think. Which came first, consciousness or creation? Consciousness or mind? I think, that's the mind, right? I am is consciousness. Remember the I am that I am? All those things that you read in spiritual scriptures, whether it's the Upanishads, it's been a long time since I read the Upanishads. As a matter of fact, it's been a long time since I've read the Bhagavad Gita. So it's been a while since I've read those. So don't beat me up too much on those. But mainly you'll see all the truth in those when you understand who the ultimate creator is. And they all give you the words, the I am, that I am, that I am, the all, the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, that which is, the is, beingness. All these words are words that we use to identify pure consciousness, pure energy, pure awareness. These type of words, pure intelligence, not thought, intelligence, awareness. So these are words that we use to reflect on what God really is. Because when you're talking something that's infinite, and that's all places, all powerful, all knowing, there's nothing else. So that's what it comes down to. You live and breathe within the body of God. There's nothing outside of that. It can't be because it's infinite. There's nothing outside of the infinite because it's infinite. Hard to understand all that through the mind. And that's all NASA. Finally, after seeing all that, all those galaxies, they got mapped 120 galaxies, most of them much, 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 much bigger than ours. I would be too. No beginning, no ending. Oh, wow. This is Edwina. Hi, Edwina. Dr. Morse, you are awesome. Oh, thank you. Love you too, honey. I had breast cancer in 2007 in both breasts. Both breasts, damn. Had tumors removed and more lymphs removed under one arm on one side. Lymph node, huh? 2012, the lymph nodes began to hurt under that arm. That's 4 years ago. Now 2016, I started bruising easy and my whole white blood cell count are low, 2.9. Yeah. Which they have never been on 4.5 for the last 20 years. And my red cell, but remember, we create these things, little at a time and a little at a time, daily eating bad, and then one day, the dam breaks. Just one day, you know, the water pressure's been there, but just one day the dam breaks loose. And my red blood cells are 3.2, which is low, guys. My platelets are 80. Must have damaged cells in spleen, bone marrow. Can I beat this? I am determined. You definitely can beat this, Edwina, and this one I need to get to you. And where's your telephone number? I'm going to give this to Jen B, and she's going to email you and make sure you're on this. Okay, sweetheart. Because I don't have a phone number, I'd call you right here. You know, if any of you want to, sometime I'll call you online. If you're into that, I'll call you online, and that way you guys can see how I interact with people. It's up to you. Pretty much like you see it here, though. All right, so what we have here is a bit of a problem. Now remember that this person never fixed their problem. They just had these tumors removed and some lymph nodes removed, but they never did fix the problem. So this is now a bigger problem, all right? So you don't know whether it's spleen or bone marrow. Either one can be involved because your spleen deals with white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets. Your bone marrow the same. So either way, this is all acidosis breaking you down, and you want to fix this. She's at 80,000 platelets. That's not good. You know, you want to be at over 200,000 platelets. You get down around 6,000 platelets, you could bleed out in a heartbeat. I'm just bleed right out and I can't stop you. You know, that's how you clot. So I don't know. 10,000 is dangerous. They won't do surgery. What, under 15 or 20? So you just you know, you got a problem here. So, and your they would call this leukemia now, which is just ridiculous. But all right, so you want to get on the program like yesterday, and I'm dead serious about this. And then you want to hitchhike our bone marrow formula and our spleen formula, and go after this because you're right on spleen and you want to address your parathyroid gland. You're bruising easy. And you want to address your parathyroid, hitchhike that with bones, 50 milligrams, 1-3 times a day. I would do 2-3 times a day. 2-3 times a day of the parathyroid glands. And 3 times a day with the bones. Do that for about a month. But you want to get in there, get your kidneys filtered, and get your lymph moving. You got to address this lymphatic problem because now it's chewing on bone marrow or spleen. Now this is getting serious. You can remove a breast, but now you're getting into some serious zones here. You can whip this. We whip people like this all the time. But you're right on where you're thinking, bone marrow and spleen. I have herbs for both of those tissues, but you want to remove the acidosis. Can't just put in goodies on top of acids. So yeah, yep, and this is real important. Okay, so I made note for Jen to call you and help you. Email you. See, they get too old here, and that's what scares me. So we're going to start. I think we're going to start having someone, maybe even Jen, view these questions. So on all the ones that's cancer and stuff, she could throw right in my face. You know what? What I think I'll do is come back and start a new. I don't want this to get too lengthy. I want this to get up there and get going with this. And well, we're in the job of saving people, bodies. We're in the body repair business. But we're also there ringing in the chimes of consciousness too, so I think we're doing pretty good there as well. I know a lot of you guys are waking up now, and it's just a beautiful thing to see, isn't it? It's just a beautiful thing to become a more awake, aware being, because the fun, the awareness, the joy, just the shift is just incredible. So I love each and every one of you. Thank for the great comments, good questions, and a lot of you got a lot of problems here. So always know Whatever you're facing, fruits, berries, and melons, whatever you're facing, fruits, berries, and melons. If it's too strong, back it up and pick up some green drinks, or salad, but fruits, berries, and melons. Now, you always are going after the lymphatic system because that's the way you get rid of acidosis. The lymphatic system, the key system. And it is the key system of what everybody's suffering from. Yeah, it's broken down tissues. Those are, thank you, Lord. Easy to fix that other stuff. It's the lymphatic system. You've got to address the cause first. Always address the cause first. Treat whatever you want, but address the cause with it. Must do. Or it's just like you're reading here. The blowback. Oh, I had the tumors removed, but you didn't fix the system that's down because no one told you it was. Wasn't your fault. You didn't know. But now wow, I was back with a vengeance. Well, it's because you didn't fix the system it was involved in. These are lymph systems, lymphomas. Same with everything else. So you guys are getting it pretty good, and I'm real proud of you. You guys are turning a lot of things around. So I'm real proud of you. I'm going to show you these pictures. I'm real impressed with just amazing work that lady's done on herself. To show you how bad you can be on the face and getting it back. Pretty cool. I'll try to have those for the next video. Love you guys. Lunch to the mango garden. No mango garden, they're all over with. I've got one left.